Not only do we have 1, 2, 3 head sculpts, but we have a 4th with no mask! Hey everybody, BAM Collectibles here, back for another statue unboxing review for you. Today's statue is made by BW, or Burning Wind Studio, and it has so many different switch outs, I cannot wait to show you. Jumping right into the base, we'll see they took an artistic approach with a rocky looking Susanoo, and then also on the very bottom, a silhouette of Kakashi, the studio's name on the bottom and Kakashi's name on top. The little round black pads you see on there are made of rubber, so it keeps it from sliding around on a table. All along the trim of the base, we'll see Kakashi's Mangekyo Sharingan. Also, these tooth-looking pieces, it kind of reminds me of what you see on top of the Hokage main building in the village. Also, the rock was painted really nicely, different shades of gray. We have those notches in the back for different parts that will be installed in the very near future. We'll also notice that his right arm is missing. I think that's more so just to save space on the base. They try to keep it as compact as possible, as you can see. With that side of the arm missing as well, it could also be interpreted that, that was the side where Obito's body got crushed. I guess, sorry, spoiler alert, maybe not. But we have his hand here, the only hand that they did sculpt. We have a magnet, a notch in there. And there's also some slits that I forgot to show that I'll show later that are going to hold a weapon. Then we have the armor or shoulder pads. What I love about how they brought this to life is the fact that it almost looks like an ancient ruins or rubble. So you have the cracked stone, you also have the dirtiness caked on there. You can see some of the browns that are mixed in. It almost looks rustic even though it's not metal, but really great job overall with a kind of an artistic interpretation on what a stone version or a statue, I guess, version of a Susanoo would look like. For all the pieces that they sculpted, this has to be the coolest for the Susanoo. We have the nice head sculpt going on. The hair looks incredible. Also, they have that neat looking Tengu nose in the front. It's always pretty much longer. I swear Kakashi's is the longest of the bunch, but it perfectly represents the head sculpt of his Susanoo when it is in existence. Connects via that small notch and groove, and also a magnet impacted inside of the head. To add some details onto the base, they did include multiple different ninja tools. We'll see a nice katana here. And then we have a shuriken and a kunai that's included. These are made of resin as well. Some studios make them out of metal. And lastly, we have some of the kamui looking shuriken that they included in here that will attach later on to the hand. In order to install the Kamui Shuriken, we do have to take off the hand, and inside of it, we're going to be using some blue tack. It's a tack-like substance that doesn't stay on there permanently, and there's slits inside of the hand that we're going to be slipping the Shuriken inside of. But first, we need to add a little bit onto the blade part of it so that when it gets into the groove, it stays in there because a little bit more friction as the blue tack spreads itself out. Now, unfortunately, because the groove isn't that deep, there is a chance of it sliding out, which unfortunately, it is going to happen. The impact of the magnet attaching itself kind of pulled it out of place. Now that that's installed separately, we should be good to go. For the fact that I have more to review and I could accidentally hit these and break them, I'm going to take them off until the end of the review. First of the 2 wings that are sculpted and included, this one is a really partial version of that. As you can see, it's more of a nub and it goes in with this notch and steel rod inside of the left backside. And for the second wing, it is much larger than the other one, more of a full-size wing that we see here. Just like the rest of the Susanoo here, there is a bit of cracks and damages going on because of the artistic approach they took. Now, that little hole that you see inside the hand is later on going to be holding something. And then there's some closer looks of the actual cracks in there. But it looks fantastic. I love how weathered it looks. This is going to be a katana that the hand is holding. I know it isn't 100% accurate to what he normally does. He normally just holds the hilt of the sword at the point of the wings, but this one they actually sculpted a full katana, which is going to look great once we have this installed, especially all those little details that they added inside of the blade. With that settled in, it looks really cool, and it also makes me to wonder, the hilts that are on the normal version of the Susanoo, if you were to pull them out, would they become blades similar to that of how, Madara wielded dual blades with his Susanoo? Now, in case you haven't seen some of my community posts, I did recently have a newborn child, a girl, and unfortunately, I did this backwards. I should have put these parts on that we're going to take a look at now first, but your boy is running on some small hours of sleep these days, so forgive me. Now, this is a wood piece that they sculpted separately. This one is only going to be for more aesthetics, while the next piece we're going to install does have a very important purpose. order to support Kakashi later on, we did need to install this piece here, because if we look towards the top of it, there's actually going to be a notch and a groove where a steel rod can fit into. That's going to be Kakashi's foot is going to mount to there. So this piece is extremely important. Now it goes into the back of the rock base, and then the Susanoo wing also goes on top of it. It kind of further secures it sitting into place to make sure it doesn't get knocked out. While we're waiting to install this, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't, so you don't miss out on any uploads. And if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for joining along on this journey. As I mentioned before, there's so many different switch outs for this statue, but the legs do stay the same all throughout. So we're gonna get this looked at and installed onto the statue so we can take a look at the many different parts that they included. The ninja tool bag in the back looks great. You can see that leathery looking texture, and also this notch and groove has a very strong magnet because it's going to be supporting a lot of different parts on the upper half. Now for me, the hole in the branch where his foot keys into, it was not thick enough. It was, for some reason, it seemed like the steel rod was smaller than the actual hole, so I needed to stick some blue tack around this steel rod, and then when I put it in there, it'll add an extra layer of friction so it holds it into place. I'm not sure if it was just a factory error for mine, but thankfully once I put this blue tack on there, it did hold just fine, so I don't have to worry about him slipping out. That is a very important thing, right? You don't want Kakashi to slip out of the hole, so if you ever have any doubts, use some blue tack and get everything secured nicely. Now, you know Bam, he loves to display cards next to his statue, so this is the card that I will be showcasing next to him just because of this outfit is so unique. So this isn't some expensive or rare card, it is a promotional card, so you can find it in tins, but I love the way that it looks against this statue, and also as we see the many different outfits that's included, you will understand. So time to crack open our one Naruto CCG pack for this episode today. Starting off with a secret mission card, then we have Kiba. Now we have super rare Sasuke. All right, it's been a while since we pulled a super rare. Now he's look at he's all shirtless up in there, but this is amazing. I don't have this one, so I'm missing this card. Let me set this down and get a sleeve real quick because I need to sleeve these bad boys up. Protect your cards, people. If you ever want to know what resources that I use, you can check out my BAM Amazon store. Links in the description so you can see what I use to both display and protect them. But we'll go ahead and sit Sasuke off to the back, see what else is in this pack. We have the Beyond the Time, Fireball Jutsu, Sharpening the Blade, Sickle Chain, an angry looking Tauntaun, and ending it off with Youth at Full Power. So really happy we did pull a super rare today. That's extremely, it's not every single time you get those, so very thankful for that, and one that I still don't have. So included with this statue also is an edition size coin that you can see here. His Sharingan or Megeko Sharingan on the front, and on the back side we see Kakashi, also the edition size information on there. 520 made, so you can see a really popular statue, and also it came with this acrylic kickstand where you can display your coin next to the statue in whatever way you want to, with the front or the back side. So I'll sit this to the back, and we'll also take a look at some other goodies they included. Here you will find some bust stands. Now what these hold is a portion of the upper torso body, so you can display different parts. Now this is a smaller one, so it's gonna have a miniature version of a bust that they included with the no arms. So this is gonna be really good for putting a head sculpt on the body if you wanna showcase it next to the statue. We also have a larger bust stand that I have to my right over here, which I will grab, and then we'll take a look and see which busts are gonna be able to fit on here right now. The main two options we'll see here is basically with and without the ninja flak jacket. This is the classic version of Kakashi that we're used to seeing, so we'll take a close look at this. It's everything you could ever expect to have, right? It has all the different markings, a lot of different wrinkles in there to give it a dynamic position and posing. There is one of the arms missing because we're gonna have multiple poses for the arm, which I'm excited about to show you, what's included with this statue. I love me some Zabuza, so get ready. And here is the flakless version. This is always so cool, right? We didn't see Kakashi without his jacket very much, but when you did, it looked incredibly cool. So whichever pose you decide not to go with, you can take that bust and stick it on this larger stand, and you'll be able to have like a separate half statue that you can showcase next to it. Seriously, this is what we want as collectors. I love it. No more useless parts. You can take everything extra and showcase it right next to it. So we'll start off by doing the flak jacket version. We have a Chidori or lightning blade that's going on in this hand right here. A very vibrant blue color. I don't really see, it's kind of like a purplish looking blue. And the hand is sculpted inside of the Chidori as we see here, and also it attaches via that magnet, and this is going to be the left hand for Kakashi. In the beginning, as teased, there are 4 total head sculpts. So these are the 2 that primarily go best with, this specific bust. So we have the standard Kakashi with the Konoha headband, and then also the one from the Ninja War as well. So we can see the headband looks fantastic. This head sculpt for Kakashi though, on point, like 100% on point. Great job, Burning Wind. And for the first pose, we're not going to go with this head sculpt right here. We're going to go with the standard one because he's going to be doing a double lightning blade pose. So it's going to be fitting more appropriately as you see here. This is the alternative arm that is just going to slide right into the socket of the arm. And then we'll take a look at the second lightning blade. This one has a different coloration to it. It really is have a lighter purple. And I love the different tones that they chose for this too, right? And plus the center of the Chidori, it's really thick, really solid. So you can see the power that exists in it. I love the trail that goes, between the two. It almost connects them as if they started low and he pulled it up high and it's just going upward. But we'll take out these swappable parts because up next is the Executioner's Blade. We swapped it out for the Ninja War headband because it goes with it more appropriately. And the actual scale of this sword and the overall design has to be one of the most perfect that I've seen for Zabuza's blade. Now, I've been brushing up on my terms, and I'm going to give this one a whack. Every single time I might mess it up, but Kubikiri Bocho is Zabuza's name or the actual blade. I always call it the Executioner's Blade, or I've heard the Guillotine Sword here, but it looks fantastic, right? It's my favorite character in the show, so it's incredible that they included this on the statue. So this is more from the Shinobi War arc when he did take and use his blade. I love this pose right here. I don't know if it's going to be my final, but I absolutely love it. I mean, how freaking awesome is this? You have a whole separate half statue that I could showcase just like that on the side of it if I wanted to. For this next pose, it is going to be more appropriate to put the Chidori back on here. We have Kakashi without his headband on, but we still have that mask on there. Looks crazy cool, right? Again, this is another pose that we do not see often for Kakashi. How good does his hair look without the headband on? And then we'll get some double lightning blade action going on. This reminds me of his battle between Kakuzu. That's what I think this is from personally. If there's another fight that this was from in the show, let me know or confirm in the comment section. And for one of the last poses, we have the 6th Hokage cape that he wore. I believe that's what it says on the back, 6 Hokage. Let me know in the comments if you think differently on that, but very dynamic the way that it's positioned, and it's going to rest right on top of his shoulders the way that it's oriented. No magnets, no steel rods or anything, and it also rests on one of the side rock pieces that's coming up from the actual base. And then we have the Hokage hat that they wore. He's just holding it, kind of flowing in the wind. Again, really cool that they have this option available. This is a statue that we really don't see of Kakashi that's ever made, and if you want to display in this way, guess what? You can. With that installed, it's time to take a look at the last head sculpt, and we have Kakashi without a mask. Oh my god. It's so weird to look at. Every single time I see this, I'm like, put it back on, put it back on. I mean, he looks good for what it is, right? He's a handsome looking guy, but it's just so different seeing Kakashi like that. But really cool that they include this head sculpt. This is something you will never find in another statue that I've ever seen. So I love it. It's kind of more appropriate, I think, to put on the Hokage, face if you want to, but really cool option to have in the statue. With all this together, let's go over a quick recap. Let me know which one's your favorite. We have the standard double lightning blade Konoha headband, and then we have the Ninja War with him donning the Executioner's Blade, and then our 4th one is what I believe to be the Kakuzu battle, and then lastly we have the 6th Hokage Kakashi. Lastly, we can see how that half bust looks, and then also the Naruto card, and then the miniature bust that they included. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're a Kakashi fan, this was a dream come true video for you, so I appreciate you investing your time into my channel and watching. As always, everybody, I will see you in the next epic unboxing video. Do what you love and love what you do. Bam out.